Hello everyone and welcome to another episode in learning the basics of research. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode in learning the basics of research. So in this video, I will try to give some tips in writing the research hypothesis. Moreover, in this video, we will try to answer these three questions. We have one, what is a research hypothesis? What is the meaning of research hypothesis? Second, what is the difference between a null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis? Third, what is the suggested format in writing the research hypothesis? So those three questions will help you learn on how to write your research hypothesis at the end of this video. So stay tuned and take down notes so that you will be able to understand well the topic about research hypothesis. So we will start with the first question. What is a research hypothesis? What is the meaning of research hypothesis? Or what's the definition of research hypothesis? Are you familiar with each definition? If not, then I will give you the answer. But before that, let me please emphasize this, that the term hypothesis, spelled hypothesis, is singular in form, while the term hypothesis, spelled as hypotheses, is plural in form. So take note of that as you write your paper. You have to identify which word of hypothesis is singular and which one is plural. Okay, we have hypothesis for singular and hypothesis for plural. Okay, so now we will answer the meaning or the definition of the word hypothesis. So commonly, many would say that a hypothesis is considered as a temporary answer to a research question identified in a particular research. Before you will write your research, of course, first, we have the statement of the problem. In the earlier video, I have mentioned about the parts, the important parts of the statement of the problem. And you have the general statement of the problem and then the specific questions. So when you write your research hypothesis, we will first know, or we need first to have the research questions. So the basis in writing our hypothesis will be our research questions, because these research questions will be answered by us in our research through our hypothesis. That is why hypothesis is defined as a temporary answer to a research question identified in a particular research. We have here another definition of hypothesis. Hypothesis is commonly referred to as an intelligent answer to a question that is logically formulated by the researcher. Yes, a hypothesis is an intelligent answer to your research question, because we need first to think of a particular answer to your research question that is considered to be clear, and at the same time it is relevant to that research question and is logically formulated by the researcher. Meaning to say, when we write our hypothesis, we need to consider the research questions. And take note that not all research questions will be given research hypothesis in our quantitative research. So you will know later. Another definition of hypothesis is hypothesis, or I mean, hypothesis needs to be subjected to testing. And in statistics, we call that as hypothesis testing. That is to check if it is true or not. Remember that a hypothesis is just a temporary answer to our research questions. And with that, we need to investigate further whether our answer to our research question is correct or not. So we can only justify that by doing a hypothesis testing. And hypothesis testing is one topic in statistics wherein you need to follow steps there so that you will be able to come up with an answer to prove whether your hypothesis is correct or not. Okay? So if you want to know more hypothesis testing, so you can search that on the internet, or maybe I will create a video later about hypothesis testing. So that's it. And we have here also, hypothesis is sometimes referred by many as an assumption. When we say assumption, we need to say we assume something. We have an assumed answer or assumed answer based on our research question. So take note that when we do our hypothesis or when we write our hypothesis, we need to consider our research questions. A hypothesis is a temporary answer, so that's true. It is also an educated guess, an intelligent guess, or a proposed explanation. And take note that a hypothesis is written in a declarative statement, and that is not written in an interrogative form. Okay, so meaning it ends with a period. So that's the definition of hypothesis. Research hypothesis is simply a temporary answer to our research questions that needs to be verified, that needs to be investigated, whether or not it is correct. Okay? So we already answered question number 1. So I hope you have now in mind the meaning of hypothesis. Next, what is the difference between a null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis? So basically, hypothesis in research has two general types. We have null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. These are hypotheses which are usually used in research, and still there are other types of hypotheses like directional and then non-directional. Maybe in future videos that I will upload, I will discuss what's the difference between directional and non-directional hypotheses. So we will have first null hypothesis. So null hypothesis, you have here the word null. Null means void or empty. Okay, that's the synonym of the word null. It is void or empty. So we have here the meaning of null hypothesis. A null hypothesis is a type of research hypothesis that is used in statistics and research that states that there is no difference or relationship is present between the characteristics of the samples. Okay, so let me emphasize, in null hypothesis, it says that there is no difference or relationship between the characteristics of the samples. Meaning to say, it says that, for instance, the academic performance of a student, if the academic performance of the students will be measured or will be investigated And it involves the gender or the sex, which is male and then the female. So you need to compare there the academic performance between male and then female. And if you are going to state your hypothesis there, you have to use the term there is no difference. Or if your research title calls for a significant relationship, so you will use no significant relationship exists between the academic performance of the male and the female students. So for you to understand better, I will give you an example. So we have here a research title, Readiness of Grade 12 Students on Home-Based Work Immersion. That is our title. And in the statement of the problem, we have here the specific question. Is there a significant difference in the level of readiness of grade 12 students on home-based work immersion when they will be grouped according to the number of family members and location? So if that is our specific question, this will be our null hypothesis. So all you need to do is copy that specific question and then change the question mark into period, and then you have to change the term is there, change that to there is no significant difference in the level of readiness of grade 12 students on home-based work immersion when they will be grouped according to number of family members and then location. So take note, this is an example of a null hypothesis. And you will know that this is a null hypothesis because there is that term, there is no significant difference. Meaning to say, your temporary answer for that research question is that you are telling us that there is no difference in the readiness of the grade 12 students on their work immersion when they will be grouped as to number of family members and location. So meaning to say, if you are going to compare students in rural areas and urban areas, you are telling here that their level of readiness for work immersion, for home-based work immersion is just equal. It's just the same. And there is no difference. Alright? So that's it. I hope that you learned how to write the null hypothesis. The second one is the alternative hypothesis. So for the alternative hypothesis, so we have here the definition. It is the total opposite of the null hypothesis because it is a type of research hypothesis that is used in statistics and research that states that a relationship or a difference exists between the characteristics of the samples. So again, this is the opposite of null hypothesis. If your null hypothesis is telling us that there is no significant difference in the level of readiness of grade 12 students when they will be categorized or grouped according to the number of family members and location, here in your alternative hypothesis, it is telling us that there is a significant difference. There is a difference. The alternative hypothesis gives us the idea that the possible answer is that there is the performance or the readiness of the students, the grade 12 students, in terms of their location. For example, for rural area students, maybe they have a high level of readiness compared to the urban areas. Okay, students in urban areas. So meaning to say, for the alternative hypothesis, it is not telling us that they have this same level of readiness. So it is telling us that there is something different in their performance. Okay, so this one is an example, still the same title, and I will read to you the specific question. Is there a significant difference in the level of readiness of grade 12 students on home-based work immersion when they will be grouped according to number of family members and location? So your alternative hypothesis will be there is a significant difference in the level of readiness of grade 12 students on home-based work immersion when they will be grouped according to number of family members and location. So that's it. So you will know that it is an alternative hypothesis if you have there the highlighted one, a significant difference exists. So we have here, for you to distinguish better which one is a null hypothesis and which one is an alternative hypothesis. So we have here an example. For the null hypothesis, it is telling us that there is no significant difference. And for alternative hypothesis, it is telling us that there is a significant difference. All right? So we have now question number 3, which actually I already answered. What is the format in writing the research hypothesis? So I have already given you that, but this time I'll give you at one technique on how to identify which research questions will you give or provide research hypothesis. So we have there an example. Statement of the problem. So this study aims to find out the relationship on the level of engagement on mobile game to academic performance of grade 12 students at Masagana National High School during the school year 2020-2021. Specifically, this study will seek answers to the following questions. Number 1, what is the level of engagement on mobile games of grade 12 students when they will be grouped as a whole and when they will be grouped according to gender and specialization? So number 1, if the question is what and it is asking for a level of something, so this is a descriptive question and this does not require inferential statistics, and so you need not to provide a research hypothesis for this. For number 2, the question is what is the level of academic performance? So still the question is what, and it is asking the level of academic performance, and this is a descriptive question which requires descriptive statistics. So you will just only need here mean, percentage, and then frequency count. It does not involve inferential statistics. So in the future videos, I will try to also to explain what are examples of descriptive statistical tools and inferential statistical tools, because you will need that in order to recognize which research questions will you provide research hypothesis. So the third specific question, is there a significant difference? So if you encounter this question, automatically this question we will have to provide a research hypothesis for this. So, is there a significant difference in the level of engagement on mobile games of grade 12 students when they will be grouped according to gender and specialization? So, you need, question number 3, you need to provide here a research hypothesis because it will include or require inferential statistics to answer the question. Same with question number 4, which is there a significant difference? It is also asking for a significant difference. And then for the 5th one, is there a significant relationship? So for this, still you will have to provide a research hypothesis. So in this statement of the problem, given the 5 specific questions, you will only provide 3 research hypotheses here, for 1 for question number 3, 1 for question number 4, and 1 for question number 5. And take note that when you write your research hypothesis, it is always stated in a null hypothesis format. The alternative is already will automatically be used once your null hypothesis will be rejected when you conduct a hypothesis testing. So, meaning to say, when you write your research hypothesis, so we have here an example. So, you will need only to write the null hypothesis. For example, the null hypothesis for question number 3 will be, there is no significant difference in the level of engagement on mobile games of grade 12 students when they will be grouped according to gender and specialization. The research hypothesis for question number 4 will be there is no significant difference on the level of academic performance of grade 12 students when they will be grouped according to gender and specialization. And for question number 5, the research hypothesis will be there is no significant relationship in the engagement on mobile games and academic performance of grade 12 students. So that's it. So I hope that you learned something on how to write your research hypothesis. So it's very simple. Just follow the format and see you later for more videos about research. So we're done with research hypothesis, and the next video will be about conceptual framework, which will be uploaded sooner. Thank you.